object, maximum output is going to get, high output is going to get. If there is object, low output is going to be get, low output is going to be get, right. So, this arrangement is retroreflector type. That means what? Here reflectors are going to be used, reflectors are going to be used. From the source, light is going to be passed like this, right. Light is going to pass like this. If there is no object, total light is going to be reflected, that is going to be received, right. Here photodiode, if you use phototransistor, whatever the amount of light you pass through this particular fiber, if there is no object, total light is going to be reflected on the receiver, then it is high signal is going to be get, right. If retroreflector, right. So, if there is any object here, if there is any object here, what will happen? Maximum total light is not going to be reflected, then it is going to be low, it is going to be low, right. So, like that here you can use different types of sensors, right. Here different types of sensors you can use, right. Here this arrangement is retroreflector type arrangement to sense the object whether is there in the path or not, is there in the path or not, right. Why this particular fiber optic sensor you need to use, even though we have proximity sensors as well as previously light sensor, right. This or little bit immune to electrical interference. That means what? If there is any electrical fluctuations are there, that is not going to be reflected on the output end, right. So, this light is amount of change in light due to the object we are sensing, why, how much of light is changing at the detector end is proportional to the object, whether object there or not. So, light is not going to be immune to the electrical fluctuations, right. So, in previous section, example capacitive proximity sensor is there. If object is getting towards that place, capacitance is changing. That means electric field in between the plates is going to change, right. By there, if there is any other electric field is there in the proximity of that particular sensor, that is also going to give some influence on this particular capacitance between this particular plates. That means field across that particular plates, that is changing the output, right. Actually what? The measuring object need to be give some input to the capacitive proximity sensor, but if there is any other fields are interfacing that particular input, that is also going to be give output, right. That type of disturbances is not going to be happen in this particular fiber optic sensor, immune to electrical fields, magnetic fields, right. That is the reason these are going to give best sensors for to measure parameters in the industry, right. This is these are the fiber optic sensors, right, to measure the object, right. Other one is the ultrasonic sensor. Ultrasonic sensors are going to be used sound energy to measure liquid or level of the liquid in the tank or level of the liquid in the bottles, right. So, normally where we are going to be used, right. So, if for example, these are the water bottles or drink bottles, right. Some bottles may not fill in the previous section. Here bottle filling is going to be takes place, right. After filling of the bottle, this bottle is moving like this. If you place one ultrasonic sensor here, this ultrasonic sensor is going to be detect whether here bottle is filled to this level or not, right. By using sound waves, right. Sound waves is going to be produced by this particular ultrasonic sensor, right. That sound waves is going to be moved with sound velocity, that is 343 meter per second, right. So, depending upon the how much time taken to reflect that sound waves from this particular liquid surface, based on that, if you know velocity and time, you can measure distance, how much distance is there liquid level, right. This liquid is how far it is filled, right. So, like that this whether this bottle is filled to this level or not, it's going to be sensed. If it is filled, then it is going to be moved to packing. Otherwise, it is out of the path. It is going to be separated. It's going to be separated. This ultrasonic sensors is mainly used in industry to sense liquid level in the tank, right? As well as there is bottles are filled or not, right? In different applications. In different application, certain level is reached or not. Is going to sensor with this particular ultrasonic sensor. Main application is what? It is going to be generate sound waves, right? So sound waves with constant velocity is moving. How much time will takes place? Reflection. Based on that, it is going to measure how far it is filled. Based on that particular distance, it is going to measure how far it is filled. How far it is going to be filled. Right? Based on this particular input. For example, if water, this is the tank. This is the tank. Right? This is, for example, you set this particular value. Here 5 inch. 5 meter, for example. This is the 30 meter. 30 meter, right? By 5 meters level of the liquid, if you use here ultrasonic sensor, if it is at the level of 5 meters, this is going to give, this sensor is going to give 4 milliamps current, 4 milliamps current, right? It is filled with 30 meter, it is going to give 20 milliamps current. Once it is given 20 milliamp current at the out of this particular ultrasonic sensor, this is whatever the motor is going to be used to fill this particular liquid is going to be stopped, right? So it is, if it is output of the sensor is 4 milliamps, motor is going to be on. If it is 5 milliamp, motor is going to be on. It is in the on state only. Liquid keep on pouring on to this particular tank. Once it is reached to this particular level 40 milliamps is going to get. 40 milliamps is going to get. Then motor is going to be off. In this case, what? Ultrasonic sensor is the input to the PLC. Input to the PLC module. PLC module means it is input to the ultrasonic sensor is input to the input module. At the output module terminal, we are going to connect motor to fill this particular tank, right? How this particular 4 milliamps to 20 milliamps output is going to be changed depending upon the liquid filled in this particular tank. How it is going to be measured ultrasonic sensor depending upon the time it takes to receive back the sound waves. Alright, that's setting like that. Constant velocity sound waves are moving, right? Depending upon the time taken, distance is going to be calculated. Depending upon the distance, current is going to be changed. Depending upon the current output, this motor is going to be, that is acting like input to the PLC. At the output end, motor is going to be on and off to fill the liquid in the tank. This is the application. Here also, this one in this application, if it is in this particular state, right, it is giving maximum output. Right. If there is no liquid, then what will happen? It is giving low signal. Like that, based on the echo of the sound waves, this particular ultrasonic sensor is going to be used to sense the liquid level in the tank, or is in some application the velocity of the liquid flowing the particular channels, that means particular tubes in industry also is going to be measured. That means liquid is passing through the particular tank. If you want to measure with what velocity or with what flow it is moving, right? Otherwise, some gas is moving to the one tank to another tank through particular tubes. You can measure with what speed that particular gas is moving using this particular ultrasonic sensor. Ultrasonic sensor is using sound waves. Based on the echo, it is going to be sensed, right? So this is about the sensors we have is strain sensor, temperature sensor in this example, right? In this slide, you can see one load sensor. Load, that means to measure load. See in this example, you can see in hopper, for example, we have some material. That material is going to be placed in the drum, right? That drum is going to be placed on the load cell, right? In the load cell, we have a strain gauge. Strain gauge is normally used internally. We have a resistor in bridge arrangement. One of the resistor is going to be used going to be changed with weight placed on that particular load cell. In the load cell we have a strain gauge. Normally this is the arrangement is going to be takes place in strain gauge. So normally what, these three resistors are going to be constant. This resistance is going to be changed with how much load is placed on this particular load cell. How much load means how much material is placed in the drum. Based on that, the load acting on this particular load cell is going to be varies. Whenever this load is going to be act, the resistance is going to be changed. Once this resistance is going to change, right, resistance is going to be changed, the voltage across this particular terminals are going to be changed. Rho voltage across this particular terminals are going to be changed. If there is no load, right, there is no material on this particular drum, there is no load, there is no effect on this particular resistor, output voltage is constant. That means, for example, if you set at 0 volts, output voltage is 0 volts. If you place some material, some load is acting on that particular one, that is going to be act on this particular resistor. Resistance, how it is going to be changed? Resistance is rho L by A, right. So length and area of this particular material is going to change. That is the reason resistance is going to be changed. Once this resistance is going to be changed, proportionally the output voltage is also going to be changed. This, by measuring this particular output voltage, you can say that this much amount of material is going to be placed, right. So simply by looking in this particular figure, if there is no material in this particular drum, there is no load acting on this particular load cell, internally this arrangement is there, there is no change in resistance. That is the reason it is going to be so 0 lbs, right. So 0 pounds, right. If there is some material is there, correspondingly load is acting on this particular load cell, correspondingly resistance is going to be changed in this particular arrangement we have in this particular load cell, right. That means strain is going to be changed, right. Voltage is also going to be changed. Proportionally this value is also going to be changed, right. So we need to discuss little bit more about this strain gauge arrangement in this particular load cell. That much explanation is not required here. Here you need to understand that this strain sensor is going to be used to measure the weight of the material in the industry. Weight of the material is going to be measured like this, placed in steel plant also. The material is moving like this, right. Load cells are going to be placed. In load cells we have a strain gauge. Strain gauge is going to be, arrangement is like this. Internally we have you can measure change in resistance or in one arm. That change in resistance is here we are going to created by the weight we are placing on that particular load cell. So that is here also it is explained. Strain gauge is used to convert mechanical strain into the electrical signal. What I said, this mechanical strain on this particular load cell is converted into the voltage electrical signal change. What I explained here, in proportionally here value is going to be displayed over here, right. So what, it converts mechanical strain into the electrical signal. Strain gauge is based on the principle of resistance of the conductor varies with length and cross sectional area, right. What I said here, resistance is going to be vary with length and area. Length and area is going to be changed with weight placed on that particular resistor. Mechanical strain, this is for resistance is there. If you place mechanical strain over there, the resistor have some resistivity with force acting on the mechanical weight acting on this particular resistance. With that length is going to be varies, area is going to varies. In proportional, resistance is going to be varies. Resistance, change in resistance, you are going to get in proportional voltage. In mechanical strain gauge, mechanical force, right, mechanical strain is converted into the electrical signal using bridge rectifier arrangement inside the load cell, right. Like that, it is load cells are going to be designed with strain gauges. These load cells are going to be used in industries to measure the weight of the material or some bottles or some big sizes, anything you can measure, right. And another application here is thermocouple. You already studied this particular thermocouple from +2 onwards. What it is? Two dissimilar metals are joined together. One terminal, if you place this terminal at the heat place, right, depending upon the Seebeck effect, the voltage change is going to be measured. It's going to be measured at the other two terminals. This is the some nickel chromium metals are used, different metals combination, and you can use in thermocouples, right. Range is going to be little bit varies, right. Range of measurement of the temperature is going to be varies with this particular metals, but the concept is what? Two dissimilar metals are going to be joined like this, right. It is going to keep in at higher temperature. Depending upon the temperature, voltage across this particular two terminals is going to be varies, right. It's going to be varies. This thermocouples here, this is RT100 thermocouple, right. The RT100 thermocouple means this is going to be cooled and is going to measure temperature in maximum. These are the thermocouples is used in industries to measure the temperature. What is there? See here at the end, at odd junction, if you place 0 degree Celsius, the voltage across these two terminals is 0 volts or some constant volt, x volt, right. If you keep on increasing the temperature, this voltage is going to be increased to the y volts, right, like that, right. So, for example, this is the way from 0 degrees to Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius. If voltage is some x volts to y volts, you can say that by observing this particular voltage, you can say that this is the temperature at that particular field. This temperature at this particular field. These are the strain gauge and thermocouple. To measure, one is to measure the weight of the material, another one is used to measure the temperature. These two are also inputs to the input module, right. And other one, these are the velocity and position sensor. You already see this particular, these two are already we have seen in our lab, electrical labs. One is the tachometer, right, to measure the rotation of the motor, Another one is the optical encoder to measure the position of the particular shaft. One is rotational energy converted into the electrical energy. This is also optical energy is going to be converted into the electrical signal. These are the two you already seen in this particular electrical labs to measure the velocity and position of the shaft present in the motors. In industry, so many motors we are going to use, with what speed it is rotating as well as in what position that particular shaft is there is going to be measured using this particular two sensors, right. So, up to now whatever we discussed, all are input switches or input sensors to measure different parameters in industries, right. So, previously also we discussed we have an input module, and output module. This input module is used to connect to all different switches. These are all different switches or sensors or transducer. We are connecting to the input module, right. These are giving inputs to the PLC, going to give inputs to the PLC. After doing something in the PLC, it is going to outing some signal through output module. We already discussed, once again I am giving to clear understanding, right. This output module is going to be connected with, it is also have some terminals, it is going to be connected with output devices. Those are this particular output devices. What are this? You can see here different output device. Motor is the output device, right. Motor has different applications in industry to control different things, right. This alarms, right, indicating lamps, right. These solenoid valves, this solenoid switch, all are going acting like a output devices to control different things at the output end in industry, right. These output devices are going to be connected to the this particular output module, right. Based on this input, what up to now whatever the sensors or switches or we discuss, those are giving input to the CPU through input module. After execution program, it is updating the output. Based on that, this output device are going to be on and off. This output device we are going to be discuss now, all right. This few output device we are going to now. See here in this particular slide, you can see symbols of different output device. Normally you are going to use in industries. Right. So previously also so many times I discussed what are the output devices. Right. This output device traditionally we have in industry to control the process, right. Pilot lights, right, control relays, motor starters, alarms, solenoid valves, solenoid switches, heaters, right, small motors and horns, right. So many, right. These are all output devices, right. You can see symbols of this particular output device which are going to be used in industries, right. This symbol for the pilot light, right. Picture previous we have seen in the previous slide, right. In this slide you can see the symbol of the pilot light, right. This is the relay, control relay symbol, right. So this one is the motor symbol, right. So overload relay control signal, right. This is the alarm signal, right. Graphical representation of this particular symbol of the particular element. Here ator element symbol. This is the solenoid. This solenoid valve symbol, right. This is the motor symbol. This is the horn symbol, right. Like that, these are the representation of the particular element, particular output device in industries, right. So frequently in industry, while writing the program, these symbols we are going to be used, and as well as to identify and to represent this output device, these symbols are used in industry atmosphere, right. So you will see working a few devices, right. This is the device mainly used in industry to control the flow of liquid through any channels. Solenoid valve is used, you can use in our projects also to tap liquid flow, right. If you want to flow the liquid through particular tube, right, we need to open this particular solenoid valve. If you want to off the liquid flow through the particular tube, you can close this particular solenoid valve. This solenoid valve is used to control the liquid flow, right. So here you can see this particular arrangement as well as symbol and internal work, right. First thing is you can see this is the solenoid valve normally used in industry. This is mechanical arrangement as well as some signal. This is going to be connected to the output terminal of the output module, right. From that signal is going to become electrical signal is going to become, this electrical signal is going to be converted into some mechanical movement internally, mechanical movement. Plus once it is energized, what will happen? This due to this particular magnetic field, this force is going to be act like this. This stem is going to be move like this. Then it is going to be close the valve. Then there is no flow across this particular path, right. See here, de-energized, what will happen? There is no magnetic field across this particular frame arrangement. Then this is the position of the valve inside this particular solenoid valve. Once it is energized, inside magnetic field is going to be generated. Due to that magnetic field, force is acting on this particular stem. This is moving like this, right, moving like this. It is going to be close the valve, then water flow is or liquid flow is not going to be takes place, right. So here also see, if it is de-energized, this is open condition. If it is energized, this is going to be closed contact, closed condition, right. Based on that, this valve is closing or opening, it will takes place inside the solenoid valve. Solenoid valve is used to control the flow in the channel, right. It's just like a valve in our bathrooms, that is the mechanical valve, right. In industry, electrically we need to control this particular valves, right. Based on the input, this to the input module, PLC will do some work, then it is going to be control the output valve in closed position or open position, right. Like this particular solenoid valve is used in industry to control the flow of liquid in the tubes, that means channels, right. So this is about the solenoid valve, right. Other, see this particular motor, already we know this particular stepper motor. What is the use of stepper motor? In steps we can rotate the shaft of the motor, right. You already studied this one, stepper motor internal coil arrangement, right. Whenever you applied sequence of pulses across through this particular internal coils, this is motor is going to be moved in stepwise. This step is, how much step it is rotating is depending upon the number of teeth internally we have, as well as, right, the sequence of pulses you are applying to the internal coils. So finally what, stepper motor is used to rotate the motor shaft in steps, right. In industry application, if any application required in step movement, this is what, surveillance, surveillance camera. Here in this figure you can see surveillance camera. This camera you want to rotate in steps towards like this, right, in both the direction towards the steps you need to rotate. In that application we are going to be use stepper motor with some chain arrangement, In industry also, for the linear applications also you can use. In linear application, one by one step like this it is going to be moved. If you change mechanical arrangement, you can angularly you can move something like this. In angular rotation you give in stepwise, in linear rotation also you can give in stepwise depending upon the application, right. Based on the application, linearly you can move stepwise by designing mechanical system like this. Otherwise, in angularly also in stepwise you can rotate by suitable mechanical arrangement, right. Internally how it is there, right, how it is going to be rotated in stepwise, everything you know, right. Previously also we discussed this particular one in the previous semester, right. This is another actuator we are going to use in industry, that is the stepper motor.